Welcome to another conversation with the Blazing Stars. Today we have with us our guest, Gerald Moses, and our topic with him today is how to be safe on the internet and what steps we can take to protect ourselves. Now, before we dive into our subject with Gerald, I want to remind our guests and our viewers to please subscribe to our channel by liking and commenting. And don't forget to turn on your notification to get our latest video whenever we upload. Now, my name is Nicole, and I am one of the elegant ladies of the Blazing Stars. If you would like to know more about us, please check out our previous videos. So, Gerald, it is absolutely wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here with you all.
Thank you. We really appreciate you taking some time to be with us today, Gerald. So we have been friends for a long time, even before I left Trinidad and before even I moved to New York.
That's right.
Please tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from, you know, all those little things.
Well, as you mentioned, my name is Gerald Moses. I am from Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. And how long have you been in Passive? Because, you know.
Roughly about, well, I would say about 2 years now.
2 years? Okay,
Yeah.
good. So that means you've been in Passive before me then or after us?
Really? Is that true?
I don't know. I'm checking. Well, I guess you came in before us, or I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's
I think when I came in, I met you here.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think I met you here. Yeah.
So then tell us a little bit, how did you learn about the company?
Well, actually, it was through your husband, Robert.
Robert, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. So I have a list of things for us to discuss, and hopefully we can cover most of it tonight. Okay, Gerald?
Well, we'll see what we could get through with.
Okay. Yes. All right. So let's begin with Wi-Fi and the use of cell phones. Now, I know that in the Caribbean, most people use cell phones. Now, I'm going to tell you an experience or story that my brother Nicholas told me, that he said he has a friend that didn't have data on her phone. And she decided to use the free Wi-Fi. So probably she must use a hotspot. And by the time she got home, she was hacked and all her information was stolen.
Wow.
So I'm sure you know, in your line of work that you heard many of these stories, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So in your opinion, should anyone be using free Wi-Fi or the hotspots?
Well, free Wi-Fi and, you know, hotspots and all of that, it depends. If you are able to access free Wi-Fi at a business location where, okay, like let's say the mall, you know, the shopping mall and places like that.
Okay.
Those areas may tend to be a bit, you know, dicey to access internet from, because you do not know who is there, you know, waiting for an opportunity, you know, such as what you mentioned there from what your brother told you,
right?
You know,
yeah.
But if we're like where you live, you have free Wi-Fi, you know, being broadcast, right? And your neighbors were to log into it, or your neighbor came and asked you for some Wi-Fi connection and you give it to them, then that, you know, is considered safe, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the business locations and, you know, those areas tend to be very dangerous, you know?
So, okay, in those kind of areas, then what should someone do in that case? Should they bother to try to use the Wi-Fi or wait till they're in a safe area?
Wait until they're in a safe area. Wait until they're in a safe area, because you see, a lot of the bad people, let me call them that, you know, the hackers and what have you, the cyber criminals,
Right.
they also would find themselves at those locations because they know that, look, a lot of people is going to be on the network. So
Right.
this is a perfect opportunity, you know, for them to, you know, steal a lot of people's, you know, information.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then I have my cell phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a password before I go into my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone still access my phone even though it's password protected?
Right. Now, your cell phone or smartphones really has two forms of protection. As you mentioned, if your phone is off, well, it is never off really, even though the screen is blanked off or it is dark. You know, it look like it is
Right.
looking like it is off. It
Right.
isn't. It is never off. Now, when you touch the screen to activate it, it asks for a password to get onto the phone, right?
Right.
That is one form of protection, so that a stranger cannot get onto your phone so easily. The other form of protection is that when you're on the phone and you're now connecting to a network, right?
Mhm.
There's also another form of protection there as well, that, you know, which is even more important than the one that you use to get onto your phone.
Okay. So let me ask you a question here then.
Mm-hmm.
When we're not using our cell phone, should we like shut it down at night then? Or should we just turn off you know, we have the internet where we just touch and it comes on, and
Mm-hmm.
what should we do when we're not using the phone? Should we shut it down?
Well, you don't really have to shut it down, but what you need to make sure of is that, okay, like some people, they may be online through their phones,
Right.
and they may become very sleepy or very tired, you know, and they just put on the
Put
phone,
on the phone, yeah, like me.
right? And they just fall back on the chair or on the bed. That is dangerous. So we need to make sure that the phone is logged off from the internet, right? And then
Oh,
you stand a better chance of being protected.
also, after trying that to before I get too sleepy, kind of log off the
Yes.
internet. Okay.
Now also let me add, Nicole, most smartphones, you know, for 2022, they would come with a temporary form of protection.
Mhm.
But as I said, that is only temporary. Now, for for this year, I am noticing that a lot of the virus software manufacturers are now making virus protection software for the smartphone. So that is something, you know, that, well, smartphone users can look into.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So we staying on our phone a little longer. Do you think that
Mhm.
people should be saving passwords on their phone and any other important information? Should we be doing that?
Now, that is sort of dicey. Yeah? If you ask me that question personally, because you know me and I know you, I
Right.
would tell you no.
Right.
Right? But that may not apply to other people, right?
Right. Right.
You see, a lot of people, to remember passwords, you know, may be a problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is recommended is that if they could write it down, you know, like Anne Frank and her diary,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if they could make a note of it, would be better. But to have it on the phones, I will say no, because if hackers were to get onto your phone, they would get all those things as well,
Right.
you
Right.
know. So
So
the least password that you have on the phone is better for
that's
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And what about our computers? Should we be doing that too, saving passwords on our computers or laptops?
Well, the laptop and the computer is a bit safer, much safer, because they would require virus software. Now, a lot of people have computers that don't have virus software, or they may download a free virus software from the internet,
Right.
you know, and they may feel to themselves that, look, they are properly protected. But no, They
So,
could purchase. Sorry, go ahead.
okay, so you're talking about the computer. So, like on my computer, I have the Windows, I think it's Windows Defender or something like
Right, right,
that
right.
comes with most computers, right?
That's right. That's right. But that is either 90 days or 3 months. It is, it will work for that period of time,
Right.
right? And then they will ask you to purchase
Which
the
is,
real thing. The real thing, eh?
yeah, well, that was
Yeah,
one of my questions, but I'll ask
yeah.
that in a little bit.
Hmm.
So, okay, many of us use internet providers to access the internet. And especially in the Caribbean, and even in here, New York, they provide you with a password, when you get, the box
Hmm. Hmm.
internet.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, should you change your password when you use providers?
It is recommended, yes. That admin password, as you mentioned, might be 123 or 54321, right? For both the admin and the password. Normally in the package, in the box that you receive with your router
Right,
from the service providers, they will tell you that you should change your password. But again, people have problems remembering passwords. So they tend to leave it so. Once the internet starts working, sometimes they just forget that. But yes, to answer your question, it must, it should be changed immediately.
right.
Yeah.
Now, is there a way that people can do that? Where do they go? Do you have an idea where they can go to change it? Or?
Well, it's a bit involved because
Okay,
the router has to be configured and it can only be configured from the internet. So they will have to go into the router through the internet,
right,
right? So this may require someone who is knowledgeable, with how to set that password,
okay,
right? The normal ordinary person may not be able to do that. So they
right.
can have someone knowledgeable to do that for them.
Yeah, because that's what I was just going to say, because the regular folks with them, they wouldn't even, from the time they hear all that kind of work,
Yeah,
may
yeah,
not want to do it,
yeah.
right?
They got turned off. Yeah.
Right. So, okay, now we're going on to a VPN.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it step by step.
Mm-hmm. No problem. No problem.
We've been hearing a lot about the use of VPN.
Yes.
First,
Yes.
tell
Yes.
me, what is a VPN in simple terms?
Right. The term VPN means virtual private network. Now, if you see it online, this is how it is. But if you're using a VPN, you have to say virtual private networking as
Okay,
opposed to network, right? Now, employing the use of a VPN is good in a sense. VPNs normally hide your internet activities, right? Now, to
okay.
some extent.
Well, let me stop you right there. What do
Mhm.
you mean hide the internet activities?
Okay. Now, if you were to send an email to me, right, from, let's say, if you were in New York or Canada and you were to send it to me here in Trinidad, that information goes through servers, multiple computers, right? It is dismantled into millions of pieces, right?
Okay,
And it is reassembled, right, for me to receive it. So along the way, that information could be tampered with, altered, changed,
oh, okay,
attachment can be made to it, right? Ordinarily. But with a VPN, it is like protected. You become invisible then, right?
right,
Now, this invisibility starts from the time you click send, right?
okay,
When it reaches in my country to my service provider, my internet service provider, ISP, they would have to see their information because that server would need to know who to send it to,
oh, okay,
right? So it is invisible between You sending it
Oh, right.
and the service provider seeing it,
Right.
right? So it's like you go invisible, and when you reach the server, it becomes visible again. So most of your internet activity is hidden, but to some extent.
Okay.
Also, using a VPN is a sort okay, let me put it this way. Imagine you were to go into town and on your way back home, you were to come with an entourage, 50 security personnel with guns, and you come in a big super saloon and you are dressed like a movie star.
Wow. Okay.
Everybody in your neighborhood is going to look at you.
Mm-hmm.
So VPN is like that. When you're using a VPN, you are observed by government and government security systems,
Right.
because they would find, as an individual, why are you using this, well, elaborate, fancy way of protecting yourself? You know?
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So when should you use it then? Should we be using it every time we go on the internet? Or only when we going, like if we're doing online banking, or when should we use the VPN?
It can be used when you're doing online banking or any personal, you have to do any personal transaction. Um, Another thing to now, a lot can be said on VPN, but I'll try to be as
I know.
straightforward as simple as possible. Um, you asked when, now if you were to purchase a VPN from, there's a lot of private companies online that offer VPN service. What is evident is that a lot of these companies will tell you that your information is private, but it is not private. Your information is sold,
Yeah.
right? Just like when you use your phone with WhatsApp and whoever, they say they steal your information and sell it.
That's true.
Your information is sold. It is very evident. Now, the virus software providers, right? Well, no, for like 2022, they also offer VPN service. If you were to go along that channel, it's much safer.
Okay.
For that said reason, a lot of these people out there, the private dealers, your information is not safe with them.
Right.
But the VPN will protect you, yes, while you're online doing your banking and what have you.
Okay. So let me ask a question here then.
Mhm.
You said we can use it for our computers. What about our cell phones? Can it be used on our cell phones?
No, no. But as I mentioned, from this year, from January to now and forward, the software providers, as I mentioned, are making VPN available for phones. Now, private VPN companies tell you that they can also cover your phone.
Right. Like
And
we have Norton, is that?
well, yes, Norton also offers VPN. You can
Yeah.
invest in that as well. But as I was saying, the private companies, they will tell you that your phones are protected and what have you, right? But what are we seeing happening?
They're getting hacked.
This is it. It's being hacked, right? And bear in mind as well, like, okay, if you were to take an example from the stars, those, they tend to employ the best. But very often you hear in the news that this famous singer has been hacked and this
Yeah.
famous movie star have been hacked, and
I've been hearing that as well.
yeah, exhibit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to another topic. The use of the browsers like Google. Now, is Google a search engine for people who may not know?
It is a search engine. Google is one of them, and it's a very popular one too.
Right. So when we enter a website address, say on Google, most of the websites start with the HTTPS.
TTP.
Right. So can you tell our viewers or listeners how does that work or what does it mean? Is it some form of security, when we go on a website?
Right. Now, I cannot remember what the term HTTPS means, right?
What about the S then at the end? Because I remember before it used to be HTTP, and then they add the S. I think
right. Yeah, well, that was added for an extra layer of protection.
Right.
In addition to that as well, there's also at the side of the browser window, there's a little lock.
Yeah.
Little lock icon.
Yeah.
We should always look for that. Always look for that. Now, Google, you will see it there. But despite all of this, Nicole, people are still hacked.
Yeah.
Right? And from Google as well.
Wow.
Right? So, hackers are very versed. These cybercrime.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Right? But yes, these things, they're there for a level of security.
So then do you feel that most providers or browsers are providing a safety? Anyone is better than one to go to, like maybe Google or Bing, Yahoo, or we just don't know?
Again, if I was talking to you one-on-one, I would answer that question. But a lot of people would swear by Google.
Right.
A lot of people would swear by Bing. A lot of people would swear by Oprah, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Right? But there are differences in the browser, yes. And where security is concerned, there are some browsers that is quote unquote dedicated to securing you online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe that would be another topic at next time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about cyber security and phishing. Is there a difference in these, cyber security, or is it the same thing with phishing? Because I know phishing is when people are tricked into giving up their personal information.
Correct.
Credit card numbers, password. And I know that this can happen in our emails. It can happen in text messages. And these people are so good. They make it look good in your email, and text, making you think that you're talking to a real company.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So tell me, what should we look for in these instances? How will we know that it's a possibility to give up our personal information when we get something like that?
Right. Now, a lot can be said on that as well, on that topic, right? And from what you said there, you sound like you're very knowledgeable on the subject, You said all the right things. But yes, and this is happening now to a lot of people, right? This is the trend of the the cyber criminals. So we need to be very careful. Okay, now if I'm accustomed communicating with you, vice versa, I would know your trend of communicating.
Right. Yeah.
The type of words you use, the type of phrases you use, the way you speak then online. I would learn that. So what we need to be careful of, I may get an email, a message from you or something like that, and I notice it is saying that it is from you, but the words the way you're accustomed speaking is different. You're using words unfamiliar to me, right?
Right.
In addition to that, they may have certain, when it comes to grammatical errors, right? The words may not be spelled properly.
Right. They're not connected.
Yeah. Also too, you will notice the communication will start with hi there, hello there, how are you going there?
Yeah.
The reason for this phrase is because the cyber criminal knows that when you use words like that, right? Remember, these criminals are trained or self-taught to think how you and I would think.
Right.
So So this is something that we need to look for. So an N, a T, an H, or an O, particularly the, well, O, or you may see 0 instead of an O, right?
Yeah.
These are things that we need to look for. Questions we need to ask ourselves. If I get a message from you, prodding me to make fast decisions, you know, or to donate to some cause. You were giving me a story about some friend of yours that we know is in trouble financially, and you're asking me to send some money, right? And you hardly have time. I need to make a fast decision. You need to, these things should ring a bell.
Right.
You know, so it's just being observant. Another thing too is that closer inspection is required. If you were to hover over the text, right, in the window, you will see some additional information, right? Particularly if you're using the laptop or the desktop. You can hover over the stated text in the window, and you'll get an idea as to where it came from, when, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you're going to ask what are the safe measures, or if you just wanted, you know, this information.
No, what you just gave me is good. So that
Right.
means that people need to be paying attention.
Yes, attention needs to be paid. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I love this subject. I think I need to do more discussions with you about that. So
Mhm.
that, especially for
Anytime.
emails, where people could learn, you know, to find out more information if they're suspicious.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
what
A lot more can be said on the topic. A lot more.
yeah. So that's definitely in the plans.
Yeah. And might I add as well, we are seeing a trend now where, as I mentioned, the security services, the virus software people are now making virus software for the phones. So they may not be able to get into your phone. But what they're doing now is that they are going through your friends, right? They're getting information of your contacts, right? So they can come to you through your friends. Because if you see that some good friend of yours is emailing you or texting you, you'll be more inclined to respond to it.
Yeah.
You know? So these things, you know, we need to watch for as well.
Okay. So in the meantime, is there any way that we could protect our emails from being hacked? Is it that we should be changing our passwords a little more often, or?
Well, remember, as I mentioned, there are two forms of protection for the phone. Not so much the password that you type or the crosshatch that you make to get into your phone or the face recognition. That is just to get into the phone to use it. But the hackers normally comes when you are connected online, right? So we just need to make sure that our phones has good protection.
Okay.
And it is not a VPN. VPN is not a virus software. That is just if you're on the internet to be safe. But invest in virus software, right? The virus software now are very thorough, right? So if you invest in that, you stand a good chance of being protected.
What
online.
about our emails? What about changing passwords in our email? Because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that they get hacked
Mhm.
on in their emails.
Yes, yes.
Something
yes.
that we should be doing, and how often should we be changing passwords on our email?
Well, as often
I
as
know that's another long subject too.
yes, as often as you are inclined. Now, don't change your password every week, right? You'll go mad, right? I would say to change your password once every 3 months.
Okay.
Once every 3 months, right?
I think I'm gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, yeah. And again, this is why I would recommend a notepad, or like for the laptop and the desktop, they are password managers. If somebody find that, look, remembering passwords are very difficult for them, There are a lot of password managers that can be bought. If one uses Windows, there's a built-in password manager that they can use. If one is using the Mac side, there's also password managers there that they can look at and use. These are very good, very, very good in storing your password.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's another subject too.
yeah. So all you need in that case is just to remember one password, right? And when you go and you type in that one password to the password manager, when he opens, you could have 10,000 passwords there saved. A lot of information, where this one is for, what this one is for, what this one is for, you know? So the password manager helps.
Okay, one more question. Do you think it's safer, since we are founders and many of our founders use cell phones? Do you think it's safer to set up our wallets on it?
No, no, no. Now, a lot of people may not have a choice right now, you know, because as you mentioned from the outset, most people now use cell phones, right? And this may be all they have for now, right? They may have a tablet, you know, or a laptop or a PC, right? But for the phones, no, no. The only thing that you should use that phone for is when it rings and it tells you that, look, well, something is going on with your wallet, right? So the information should come to the phone from OnePassive. That's all. That's all.
Okay.
So do not use your phone to go at the website to see about your wallet or onto the bank or anything like that. But again, a number of people right now may not have a choice. But as soon as one is able to invest in a device, laptop or desktop, where you can have 100% protection.
Okay. Okay, you know what, Gerald? This was a really interesting conversation, and yeah, I'm hoping that we could continue this, because there's so much different topics that we could talk about.
I would welcome that.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, is there any information that we can learn more about for next time? What topic would you like to talk about next time?
Well, there are 10,000 topics that I can go into, but I think well, what we know really is that very shortly the foundership process will close, you know, and the eventual launching of OnePassive. So I would very much like my OnePassive family to be protected. So if possible, as you mentioned, anytime the privilege comes up, you know, I can come back and speak some more on that topic, you know, how to protect ourselves going forward. Now, we also know that OnePassive having a pipeline plans to meet us halfway where security is concerned, right? But until then, we need to see about ourselves. We need to be very cautious.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that discussion with you. So thank you very much, Gerald.
You're most welcome.
Our listeners have benefited from our discussion today. For our viewers, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments below, and maybe in another session, we'll be able to answer any of those questions. Now, as a reminder again, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The Blazing Starz. Please like, comment, and share. So until another time. Thank you very much, Jared.
Anytime.